This is a vintage FAEMA LAMBRO espresso machine. We're just putting the finishing touches on it after a long time of waiting for parts and working on other projects. We got this machine from Enrico Maltoni, and it was originally gas with a 220 conversion. The conversion had been done by the classic Italian technicians, so we did learn quite a bit about the whole subject. Not only having a beautiful espresso machine, but learning something. This is the original gas setup, which I removed. It has a simple little burner. In the center here is a carburetor to adjust the flame. The petcock hooked up to a gas rubber tube, and it was located right here in this hole. Right here, from this hole in the front, this is the water fill, which is a push button, and as you can see, it's under pressure. And it's the don't give me a button or I'll push it. But anyway, there's the water fill. And I removed the 220 service and put in 110 element. It runs at about 1550 watts, about 13.5 amps, so it's, you know, below the most home circuitry. It's wired up. The two sides of the element are wired up in parallel, so you can get the proper function. The big FAEMA group. One of the features of this style group is down in this part back here, which is generally covered by this cap, this acorn style cap. This part here has an adjustment that you can turn it up and down. There's a rod, a spring that impinges on a ball bearing, and the more you tighten it, the slower the flow is into the group. The more you loosen it, you have faster flow, depending on how you want to use the machine. Come around to this side. The entire sight glass mechanism is removable with these two screws. So if you need to service the sight glass, it's very simple. You unhook these two, remove the two screws, and the entire thing comes out, and you do the service on the sight glass right on the bench. Come around this way. This shows the classic thermal siphon that some of you may have heard of, but the thermosiphon is one of the big features of this machine and this style group. As you can see, there's two tubes with fittings here. The group itself is supported by bolts that go into the back steel plate. These two fittings, this is the high or hot side of the thermosiphon, and this is the cold side of the thermosiphon. Now, the inside the boiler, so this is a closed-serve thermosiphon. There's a tube about that size, a little bigger in diameter, that starts down here and goes all the way up to the top and goes diagonally through the boiler. Down at the bottom of the tube, there's a number of perforated holes. It's a brass tube. There's a number of holes, and so those holes are basically right by the element. And this is what sets up the thermal loop through the thermosiphon. I've tried to take some measurements that are somewhat primitive, just to give you an idea. I've got a little infrared thermometer here. Anything that shines, this doesn't work with, but I've come to realize that if you take your thermometer on the top or the hot loop, you see, and now we go down to the bottom loop, there's no difference whatsoever. There we can see it. We're 140, we're 130, 129, 122, 132. They said this is not a real accurate measurement, but you can see there is a thermal difference between the top and the bottom. The machine's been on for a while. When you first turn it on, there's as much as a 25 or 30 degree difference between this side and that side, because the group is sucking so much heat. It's dispelling a lot of heat. When they converted this machine, is that originally these old gas machines, they had a big heavy wobbler weight, and this was what regulated the pressure in the machine. So once it got up to pressure, just like a pressure cooker, and this is a heavy lead weight off of a bologna, but this started to wobble on a fitting here on a little sleeve that's set out, and that's what operated the machine. And of course the steam also heated the drip tray and the cups up on the top, or the cup tray. And so in order to change this over, what they did was they took the steam and they routed the steam wand over to here. Then to add a pressure stat, they came into this here, which was the original steam wand. And this port has been added to the boiler, and that is the current modern pressure safety valve. And so you see quite a few modifications that were taking place in order to make this happen, but everything else in the machine remains original. The way it's set up, we'll see if we can run the kick on the, yeah, okay, it's running. So I'd like to put it on a meter, and we're running at 118 volts, 13.5 amps, 1580 watts, and of course we're in North America, 59.9 hertz, but well within the parameters of home use. Lots of spectacular chrome, and this machine, it was really, they were made for maintenance. The group itself, there are 3 bolts under this collar. You loosen these 3 bolts, the entire piston pulls off, including this top part. It makes it very, very simple to clean, to lubricate, to do everything that you need to do down in this bottom part. You might have seen the demonstration on the steam. The valves, they're reverse spring loaded, and so there's a large area where they do nothing, and then you hit the sweet spot where it's on and off, and so it's kind of an early ergonomic kind of factor. It's off, but it's in the middle of the travel. There's a lot of great ideas as far as use and maintenance with this machine. It takes a while to warm up, and it takes a little while to get used to, but once we get it dressed up, we'll pull some shots in a future video. But that is the workings of the FAEMA LAMBRO. Thank you very much.